Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's Top 5 Camps. I'm the trained nationwide gambler apparently, and as ever, I've got some incredible builds to show you from some of the best builders in 76 community. So the first half of this video is going to be the best clean builds of the week, and the second half's going to be the best immersive builds at week. So without further ado, let's take a look at them, shall we? Coming in at number 5 for the Queen build category, we have Silver Bunny with the Onyx Falls build. And first things first, let's take a look at the location, because I think this is what really makes this camp special and stand out. This spot is legendary, quite frankly. A lot of the big builders in the 76 community have made camps here, and there's a bloody good reason for it. That waterfall is epic, and I don't really think there's many more spots like this in the game. In fact, I don't think there's any at all. However, this spot is quite a double-edged sword. This is a really difficult location to build in, so Bunny's done a bloody good job to, actually pull something off here. Even getting the stair post down here is quite difficult. There's water underneath the map, and if you do fancy little tricks like Bunny's done here, it makes it a bloody nightmare. Now, location aside, the actual structure itself is quite a simple design, although I do like that little diagonally boy wall you've got going on there. It's only a little thing, but it breaks up the boxiness at build, and yeah, I think it does add a lot to it. Now, interior-wise, this place is fairly decently well decorated. It's very clean. It's very organised, I think the correct word is. And it has got quite a few little tricks in it as well. Take, for example, the bathtub with the bloody, the lounger merged into it. That's a pretty cool little trick, that. Overall, Bunny, I think you've done a pretty solid job on this. I mean, it's not an easy location to build in, like I said, and the way you've actually lit that waterfall up is pretty bloody cool as well. To be honest with you, the lighting in this whole entire build is really nicely done, so yeah, fair play to you. Bunny, cheers for entering this week, and congratulations on the number 5 spot. More than well deserved. In the number 4 spot this week, we have Twisted Rose with the Forest Escape Camp. And why have I chose to put this in the top 5? Well, it's quite obvious, isn't it? I mean, just bloody well look at the thing. It's stunning. Like, seriously, this is a gorgeous looking camp. Now, as well as its obvious good looks, there is a few little things that Rose has done which makes this stand out to me. The main one being a fairly heavy usage of underpinnings. Now, guys, if there's a camp building technique I reckon you should have in your bag of tricks, it is most definitely underpinnings. These little buggers are dead simple to do, and they can hide those bloody nasty looking foundations. Seriously, take the time to learn it, because you end up with fantastic looking creations like the one in front of you. It really does help. Now, on to the interior, and much like the outside of it, it's very clean, it's very well put together, and yeah, there's nothing much more I can say about it. Although it is kind of my job to try. Yeah, anyway, the levels of detail in this place, it's just mind-blowing. Take, for example, that little radio Rose has made over there. Now, that's not an in-game item. She's made that out of merging shit together. Same can be said for kitchen area as well. Guys, a lot of them items you see in there on the counters, Rose has made them. I mean, that little baking tray thingy-mabob there, that's the top of a bin that's been merged into the kitchen counters. Straight up with you now, I get so many comments every week complaining about it's the same people in the top 5 every single time. Well, yeah, that may be the case in certain situations. However, can you understand why? I mean, the level of detail and the time that must have taken, it's next level. Anyhow, Rose, this camp is simply lovely. The exterior is bob on. I can't fault it at all. But your interior decor, that's what really made this one for me. Thank you very much for entering this week. Congratulations on the number 4 spot. Right then, so in the number 3 spot, we have another familiar face in the top 5. It's Moonlight Cowboy with the scenic split level. Now, I don't have to explain to you why this is in the top 5, I don't think, because it looks feckin' epic. However, if you do want a bit of confirmation as to how much work has gone into this, go over to Moonlight's channel and watch the full video. It shows a few of the aneurysm-inducing tricks needed to create a camp like this. Now, right off the bat, this thing is actually built in one of the pre-existing pagodas near the New River Gorge Bridge. You know the ones I'm on about, don't you? The little farty things with all the picnic tables in them. Now, there is a fair few of these buggers knocking around, but they all share one thing in common, right? They are an absolute pain in the arse to build in. Those lovely little picnic tables I've just mentioned, yeah, they'll become your worst nightmare if you want to make a camp here. You've got to get properly bloody creative. You've got to put false floors down and everything. It is hard work. However, mon petit fleurs, with a little bit of work, you can come up with something like Cowboys done here. And I think we can all agree that's a fantastic looking structure in it. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got really nice looks. That building itself, the pagoda, looks awesome on the inside. I'll show you that in a minute. And above all, the views in this spot are absolutely gorgeous, let me tell you. Seriously, I never thought unrendered textures could look so good. So now we go on to the interior, and the first thing I want to make you aware of is how fantastic that pagoda roof looks. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a prime example of why some pre-existing structures are actually really cool to build in. Roofs aside though, this whole interior is actually quite nice. There's a lot of open space, which I don't usually tend to lean towards in camp builds. I tend to like them, you know, stuffed to bursting point like Kim Kardashian's pants. But yeah, I actually think it works in this build. I'm not mad at that at all. It's a really nice looking camp, this. Moonlight, thank you very much for entering this week. Congratulations on the number 3 spot. And just remember to, you know, PayPal me over that bribe you give me before I judge this. What? So, in the number 2 spot this week, we have Only Sai 91 with the White Spring Pool House Camp. I don't think the 91 were necessary, but anyhow. If you like modern houses, ladies and gentlemen, then this, well, it's going to be ticking all your boxes, isn't it? When you think of this kind of build in 76, I'm guessing this is the kind of thing that you'd be expecting. We've got nice, clean white walls. We've got some fucking Toyota fucking Supra or something blasting past it. We've got the mandatory glass for these kind of builds, and we've got a swimming pool without water. Let's take a look at that, shall we? Yeah, that is actually a really, really clever idea. I've seen this done before, but I think it's a really smart way of getting a swimming pool in a camp location with no water. It's also a really smart way of getting concussion as well. Now, Omusai, I love the exterior of this thing. Like I said, it's your typical modern house. You've put your own special twist on it, and yeah, I really can't fault it. There is one tiny little thing that's bothering me though. The generator on the bloody roof, dude. Now, I'm not saying that's an intentional thing, and we're just going to go with you forgot to take it off when you was recording your camp. Yeah, we'll just roll with that. On to the interior of this thing, and the best way I can describe it is typical modern house and functional. It is, of course, extremely clean. I mean, that goes without saying in this category of build. And while it's not as intricately decorated as Twisted Roses, for example, there is some pretty cool little features in it. My favourite one being, of course, the little freezer you've got going down there with all your food in it. That's a really smart idea. Now, yes, I have seen this in camps before, but it looks cool. There's no denying it. Omusai, I think you've done a properly solid job on this one, mate. Like I say, it looks like a typical modern house. It is extremely clean. The interior is very nicely decorated. Just do us a favour next time, Mon, and get rid of that bloody generator. Thank you very much for entering, buddy, and congratulations on the number 2 spot. More than well deserved. Right then, so in the number 1 spot this week, we have a spectacular build from Alex P. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the General's Villa. Now, straight up clarity with you guys, I've actually seen this build in person. Alex very kindly gave me a tour around it, and also very kindly gave me an extremely rare fixer as well. What's that? What? It counts as a bribe? Nah, it doesn't. There's no bribes here. Anyhow, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I've actually had a tour around this gaff, and trust me when I say, the video doesn't do it justice. There is so many details about this place, I physically can't show you. The video would be way too long if I was to go over every single aspect of this place. Now, exterior-wise, obviously, this is a very well put together build. Even just looking at it here, you can see multiple, rather tricky building techniques have been used to create this. We've got this rather fancy looking quarter glass wall thing here. I don't know the correct body measurement. We've got some rather fancy looking roofs as well. Simply lovely. However, that isn't all. There is some things that you may not notice until you take a really close look at it. Look your peepers on those arrow slit Castle Boy wall piece 5000 things there. Can you see a sheet of glass in them? That is not how they come in game, ladies and gents. Alex has made them, and he's done it by layering multiple walls on top of each other. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that is rather impressive indeed. It shows a immense level of dedication, and it does add to the build. Like I said, you don't see it straight away, but once you do, it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty sweet, that is. Now guys, the interior is no different whatsoever. It is just as well done as the exterior. I mean, it'd be pretty frigging disappointing if it wasn't, wouldn't it? Now, it is very clean and quite minimalistic. Again, this has got nowhere near the levels of decoration as Twisted Rose's build. That really did stand out for me this week. Anyhow, that doesn't detract from the build, guys, in my opinion. It is still really solidly decorated, and it looks bloody awesome. It's also got some really cool floors as well. Have you noticed it's split level? I really, really do rate that. Hey up, the JDM Bandit's back again. I don't know if you lot can hear that, but it sounds like friggin' Le Mans 24 out here at the moment. Alex, I absolutely love this build, mate. The exterior and the building tricks you used were, yeah, they were top notch, pal. And of course, couple that with the amazing interior that you put together, this was more than worthy of the #1 spot. Thank you very much for entering this week, pal. It is much appreciated, buddy. Right then, so that wraps up the top 5 clean builds of the week. I will say, though, we have got another 2 to show you, but they'll be honourable mentions. I'll throw all of them together later on in the video. Next up, we have the 5 best immersive builds of the week. However, just before we take a look at that, if you have a build you want to submit to competition, take a look in the description of this video. You'll see a link to my Discord. All you got to do is submit your builds in the form of a YouTube link into this section here, and you'll be entered into the top 5 for that week. It's dead simple. Anyhow, let's take a look at some more builds, shall we? In the number 5 spot for the immersive category, we have Shez79 with the Little Hope Abandoned Asylum. And I must say, wow, that is actually quite a large build, to be honest with you. And that White Spring set is bloody killing it in this format. I love it. Now, while I do like the White Spring set here, and I do like what you've done with the structure itself, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's just too much white knocking around, or maybe it could do with just a little bit more decor. I just felt there was something missing from it. Now, that's just my opinion, you know, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean much. On the flip side of what I've just said, however, Shez's builds are very... I think the best way to describe him is true to life. They do look extremely realistic, so yeah, I can understand why you've gone down this route, Shez. So, going into the interior, and this is what really blew my mind about this build, much like the diner you did the other week, Shez. It is absolutely awesome. It looks so real. It is properly convincing. Again, I'm not sure if it's all the greenery, well, brownery, because it's all dead that you've got knocking around, or it's the perfectly placed furniture. I don't know, but it just sucks you in. It feels so goddamn... Again, I'll use the word realistic. This could be a real world location. Now, I've been lucky enough to explore abandoned asylums in the UK and probably give myself asbestosis in later life. And believe me when I say, you can see a resemblance between this and real world counterparts. They are very utilitarian, usually extremely screwed up like this one is. The only thing that's missing is graffiti. I'll do a video one day showing you around one. Shez, you've hit the nail on the head with this one. You truly are the mistress of realism. Thank you very much for entering this week. Congratulations on the number 5 spot. In the number 4 spot, we have Clones with the late build, and this is a perfect example of how in-game building sets can look bloody incredible. For those of you who don't know what this set is, I'm guessing 99.9% of you do. However, this is quite simply the standard vanilla brick wall set flipped around. And in my opinion, it is one of the best scrappy and immersive looking walls you can use. Honestly, it gives such a great effect. Now, the structure itself is quite simple, which is good. It means that pretty much anybody can log on to the game and build themselves something like this. Literally, the vast majority of this is vanilla stuff. The only thing you would have to work out how to do is the roof pieces. The overhanging sides on them, yeah, there is a bit of trickery to that. Aye, overall, Clones, I really do like the exterior of this thing. It's nice and simple. It's good for new players to, you know, put together. And of course, it looks scrappy as hell. You've done a really good job on this one. Now, on to the interior, and there is actually quite a lot of detail that's gone into this. Clones has, you know, spent a lot of time decorating this place. Everywhere you bloody look in here, there's a different merge glitch. This workbench here, that's made up of what? 3 different items? Ah, yeah, we've got the workbench itself, we've got the cartography table, and then that's all been glitched into metal stash boxes. That's a lot of work for one bench. But, mon petit fleurs, it adds to the overall feel, doesn't it? It's not necessary, but it's cool. It does make a difference. Clones, this is a solid build, my friend. I love the simplicity of the exterior, and then I also like the really complicated little things you've done on the inside of it. It's a really strange mixture. Thank you very much for entering this week, and congratulations on the number 4 spot. Hats off to you, mate. In the number 3 spot this week, we have Roadkill with the Roadrunner camp. This thing is bloody awesome. I love these kind of builds. Anything vehicle related, yeah, it's just so cool because of the amount of work that goes into them and how good they look at the end of it. Now, I haven't taken a seriously deep look at all the aspects of this thing, but you can see the level of detail just by taking a quick glance, can't you? Let's start off with, I don't know, the actual camper body itself. So yeah, all of them are bar pieces, as you can tell. And once upon a time, you could place them down, no problems whatsoever. I don't know if any of you remember when they first came out and people went nuts with diner builds. Yeah, it's because they were so simple to do and looked absolutely fucking fantastic. Nowadays, though, they aren't that easy to, manipulate. So yeah, even doing the body itself, while it looks quite simple, just, stacking bar pieces, there is a lot more that goes into it. It is quite tricky and annoying. So yeah, fair play to you for that, Roadkill. Now, as well as the body, the whole thing is a ball ache, quite honestly, to get to work. The wheels at the bottom, that's truck beds merged into each other. At the front here, for the bonnet, hood, we have a dumpster with a generator merged into it. Yeah, this whole build is it's just a kick in the penis. I would not have enjoyed trying to put this together. Now, interior-wise, it isn't that highly decorated, but, let's just take a step back and look at it. It's a camper van at the end of the day. The key things that we need are there. We've got a shitter, we've got a shower, we've got somewhere to sleep, and we've got a steering wheel. That's quite a critical component. Roadkill, I like this build, mate. You can tell you put a lot of work into it. I know they're not a simple thing to do, and it's turned out really nicely. Thank you very much for entering this week, pal, and congratulations on the number 3 spot. Right, so in the number 2 spot, we've got one of the most unique and wacky builds I've ever seen in Fallout 76. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Smug Potatoes Octopus Queen build. Now, I get it. Some of you are going to be screaming, oh, TNG, that's not immersive. And I do see your point. However, I raise you mutations. Guys, we're in a wasteland where there's bats the size of a Boeing 747 that can turn you into a glowing green statue. Personally, I think an oversized mutated octopus is not too far out of the realms of reality in this kind of world. However, feel free to insult me about it down in the comments and I'll file it under B1N. Anyhow, yeah, this octopus is actually really, really impressive how Smug's put it together. I mean, for a kickoff, the tentacles are curvy and they're not straight sticking out at water like you'd expect them to be in 76. As we all know, this game does not like curvy structures in any way, shape or form. Now, in all honesty, there's not really much more I can say about this. It's a giant octopus, other than how well it's been done. I love the choice of location, like it's just munching on a boat for its dinner. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't enjoy that? I also think the colours are really cool too. Again, it makes it look like a mutated creature. It's even got a little face as well. Look at it there. Bloody well staring into my soul it is. Smug, this thing is epic. It's funny. It's unique. It's definitely very creative, and above all else, it's impressive as well. The way you've actually managed to build the thing, it's uncharted territory, isn't it? I don't think there's really many guidelines on how to build a giant octopus. Thank you very much for entering this week, and congratulations on number 2 spot. More than well deserved. This thing was bloody incredible. Right then, mon petit fleurs, now we come to the number 1 spot, and who do you think's got it this week? Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to keep you waiting for just a little bit longer, because it's time for the honourable mentions section, yes. And as I said before, guys, we've got 2 honourable mentions from the Queen section, and we're going to have 2 from the immersive builds as well. So yeah, that's 4 in total. Quick maths indeed. Right, so the first Queen honourable mention we've got goes to Cash It with the George Michael nightclub shelter build. Yeah, Careless Whisper. Now, as with all of Cash's build, this thing is a bloody spectacle to watch. It is honestly really, really well edited. Trust me, go over to his channel and watch the full thing. I can't do it justice here. Now, this whole thing is quite an acid trip to watch. I think a lot of that's to do with the filter that's on it, but it is a really well-built camp, to be honest with you. Well, shelter. And just an FYI for anybody who's watching, yes, that suit is a mod. Cash is the only entry this week that's not been PS, and you can do fun things like that on a computer. Cash, this was a really, really cool build, and like I said, your editing is always top-notch. Thank you very much for entering this week. Congratulations on the honourable mention. Our second Queen honourable mention this week goes to Dark One with the Boltos build. And let me tell you, this was a difficult one to place. It was a close one between Silver Bunny's build and this for being in the top 5. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Yeah, like I said in your YouTube comments, pal, I absolutely love the barn doors you've got there. That really does scream boathouse. This is a really, really well put together build. And of course, your location choice, yeah, it's a perfect fit for the theme that you're going for. You can't really ask for much better than that, can you? Dark One, thank you very much for entering this week, and congratulations on the honourable mention. Yeah, I'm losing my voice right now. Right then, so on to the immersive mentions, and the first one goes to Vix with the Western Town build. Now, you're probably wondering, guys, why the bloody hell this fantastic creation isn't in the top 5? Well, it's quite simple. Shelter builds are limited to honourable mentions in the rules of the top 5. Now, I could do weekly specials of shelters. Let me know down in comments if that's what you want to see. I mean, I'd like to see it because you get amazing structures like this. Vix, you have absolutely smashed this one. It looks bloody spot on. Even with the relaxed building restrictions of said shelters, this is still really, really impressive. It does look like a Western town. Your interiors are ace as well. That saloon you've built, yeah, that's meant that is. Vix, thank you very much for entering this week. This is truly one of the best shelter builds I've ever seen, hands down. Congratulations on honourable mention. Right then, so our final honourable mention goes to Terminus with the Flatwoods Cabinet of Curiosities. This one was a bit of a hard one to place because it is technically a shelter build, but it's not as well. The structure itself has been really well done inside of Flatwoods, using a pre-existing building sort of as, like, you know, its basis. But the actual interior is done in a shelter, I believe. At least I assume it is. That looks like a shelter entrance to me. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. Shelter aside though, whether it is or whether it isn't, the interior of this thing is so well decorated. Like, the levels of detail in this, they're up there. This is seriously cool. Literally, everywhere you look, you've got merge glitches and decorations and just crap placed everywhere. I absolutely love it. Terminus, thank you very much for entering this week. If this wasn't a shelter build, I do apologise because it would have been in the top 5. But like I said, let me know down in comments. Congratulations on the mention, mate. And that wraps up all the honourable mentions. Thank you to all of you guys for entering. Right then, I think it's about time we find out who's number 1 in the immersive category. And I'm not going to keep you waiting for any longer. This week's winner is Daehla with the suspended single wide camp build. Again, I have been to this camp, and let me tell you a little secret here. It is one of the most impressive immersive builds I have ever seen. In fact, scratch that, it's one of the most impressive camps I've ever visited. It is phenomenal. Not only has Daehla decorated that prefab trailer beautifully, he's made his own bleeding crane, for Christ's sake. Now, I've seen many suspended builds, guys. I think it was Corva who started doing them originally. And yeah, they are pretty cool, but I have never seen anybody build their own crane. Most people will just head on over to that big buddy abandoned crane rockhound thing in the ash heap and just hang a container from it. But Daehla, no, he's gone the extra mile. And it's all so well detailed. I mean, that thing's even got its own little control booth. It's bloody spot on. It's not just the camp that's impressive as well. The location choices, it's really clever. If you take a look at the back of the build itself, I'm not actually sure I've got footage of this, but there is a load of abandoned trailers that match the prefab perfectly. So it looks like this crane has just been bringing this trailer up for the miners to live at. It is so immersive, honestly, guys. Now, if we take a look in the trailer itself, the level of detail on this decoration is, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, yes, it does look like an utter shithole, but that's the charm of it. That's what scrappy builds are all about. Seriously, pal, your decorating is top notch. This whole build is top notch. Daehla, thank you very much for entering this week. Like I say, this build is, this is next level. This has really raised the bar. You've done a properly decent job on this one. Congratulations on the #1 spot, pal. More than well deserved. And guys, thank you to every single person who entered this week. Now, we are seeing reduced numbers because of, well, Starfield. Most of the entrants are PS at the moment. So depending on how many entrants we get next week, we may just be back down to a single category top 5. I don't know. I can't tell future, can I? Anyhow, as ever, I'd like to say a massive thank you to all my channel members and Patreons. The extra support is much appreciated. If that's anything you guys are interested in, there's a link in description. Right, so at this point, my voice is barely hanging on for dear life. So as we say it north, I'll love you and leave you, and I'll catch you at next one. Have fun, everybody.